Welcome to another episode of Breaking Into Cybersecurity. Today, Friday, 1 p.m., we go live every Friday at 1 p.m. If you're joining us live on LinkedIn, make sure you follow myself as well as our guest today, Jose. And if you're following us on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification button. That way you see us next time. And for those of you following us on podcast, because we're on all the major podcast platforms, share with your friends, families, no matter where in the world they are. Today we have Jose. He's one of our few international guests that we have. We hope to have more. So if you're here, if you're listening to us from another country, we'd love to hear your perspective, see how things are. We've had lots of folks from the US and Canada, but want to appeal more to our international base, see how things are going out there as well. So, Jose, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Chris, for the invitation, for letting me be here. Okay, I'm going to share, in a brief, my background, my experience, and then how I started to move into the cybersecurity field. Okay. Back in 2009, 2010, when I was working as a sysadmin, DBA in infrastructure, I I already got this security mindset. So I was like to not just install the databases, Oracle, the server services, and leave it into default config. I like to to customize and make it more secure. So I got this mindset, a security mindset, way back like 12 years ago, and then 2014. From 2014 to 2020, I was a digital forensic investigator. I was certified by my country judiciary system. So this was freelancing work, case based, where I had to do the job, submit the report to the legal authorities, and then expose, defend my report in a hearing if needed, if required. So I got this experience. So kind of like more on the other side, with the defensive side, forensics, server hardening and firewalls and stuff like that. Uh, I followed some courses and I was in that part. But the real interest in cybersecurity, it just only sparkled in 2015. But at that time, I was working in the academic field. I was a full-time professor, and my intention was to pursue an academic career, but my area of research of interest, it was cybersecurity. I applied to 6 universities in the US. I wasn't admitted in any. I didn't get my contract renewed. And then in 2016, I got married. So I, was on hold for a year, settling up my marriage. And then in 2017, I made my next attempt, going to apply for PhD, but that in that case was Europe. Looking forward to go back to, into academic, because in after I didn't get my contract renewed, I started working as a software engineer in the same university. And so what I was doing was follow courses. I got a certification with a company from Colombia. I was studying, getting familiar. So it was like studying. So in 2017, early 2018, I kind of like lost my hope in the academic field, and I stay, a software engineer, and I was looking, to rather work on the professional side. And I was like, just like that, starting getting familiar, getting to know more the field. So I wasn't like in anything specific. In 2019, I started doing volunteering work with an online platform named Cybery. I was doing volunteering work, especially as teaching assistant. Uh, I also have a cyber fraud course with a European company. And then I was applying to different jobs, looking for freelance work in Upwork, gigs, or whatever it may come. And then I got an opportunity because I started to work with a pen test as a service company named Cobalt, and I've been working with them since then. And this is a pen testing work, working in different engagement, different works. And this has been my main, work that I've been doing. And it was done along with my software engineer job in the local university. And then last December, I decided to quit my job. So I'm like full-time freelancer, no more an employee. The pandemic made me realize that I really want to be a freelancer and be working with, from home. Uh, Also, 2020, I studied for the OSCP certification. I made the exam attempt. I didn't pass, and I decided to move forward with other certifications. Right now, I'm preparing for the DCM Security Practical Network Penetration Tester certification, and I've been doing some other, pen testing project with other companies, consultancies, and like that. And it's not that I don't think that I have really like just broke into the cybersecurity field. I think I'm still breaking on, and getting, to get more experience. But this is in a brief what I've been doing, and what I want to point out is that in my case, it all came as this like consultancy freelance because where I live in my country, my city, it's you don't have many chances to get a job in cybersecurity, and getting a job, to go and work in other countries, Europe, and especially the US, is not easy because of some legal considerations and some visa cap that it makes really difficult. I wish that would change, but that is not only up to the company, but also some government related issues. So this
Yeah.
is in what I've been doing, and how I started working in this great field that is cybersecurity.
Okay. Okay. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties on the LinkedIn side, but what I will do is I will share the link for them over to YouTube. But in the meantime, so let's kind of take a step back. Let's look at what you were doing. You mentioned you started out your career as a software developer and you were kind of working your way up. Which aspect of software development did you focus on?
Well, it was basically in the development of long intranet level applications. So it
Okay.
wasn't just web apps. So it was intranet applications, so applications that was only accessible within the organization, and that kind of like didn't went on favor me because when sometimes when I applied to jobs, I was asked, okay, do you have a portfolio? Well, I don't, because I have developed intranet application, so uh, but it was my main focus in software development. I started with Oracle Application Server, PLSQL, Oracle Forms and Reports. That's what I started. I also work with PHP, SAMP, LAMP. Um, where I live, years ago, it wasn't like too specialized the jobs. So you were just the IT guy, and
Yeah.
for example, in a couple of jobs that I had, in the morning I was programming functions, procedures, triggers, and then in the afternoon I was up the hill, fixing a one antenna, one router, and, going up, the ladders. So my background was was both like software development and sysadmin. It helped me to get experience in all the areas, maybe not too deep in maybe in some of them, but that's how it started. Then I moved to learn Java. One of the modules that I taught, sorry, when I was a professor was the Java core, object oriented programming. uh, then I started as a pen tester. I got to learn more about Python. I like to learn Ruby, and JavaScript. That is, I was part of the applications. So a little bit of C sharp, Bash scripting, of course. So this is more or less like what I worked with into software development, and also with CMS, WordPress, frameworks such as Django, CodeIgniter, and Laravel.
No, the reason that I kind of asked that is so that for individuals that might be coming from that software background, when you're working to create the software, you know how it's supposed to function. So
Yes,
now when you're on the other side, when you're pen testing,
yes,
you know how to break the function. Um,
yes, yes. Yeah, that's true, because as a software development, you get to know the code very well, and if there's with the code, if the software is developed with a framework, the frameworks have a specific versions. So as a pen tester, it helps you to know how it works, and it helps you more to find vulnerabilities, and if they don't have, so okay, I'm gonna find anything here, and I'll move other part. So yes, the software development is really important, and well, that will be one of my suggestions to everybody in looking to break into cybersecurity, or not just the cyber, but also IT. Remember, well,
yeah,
cyber is part of IT. Uh, well, there's the part that there are many people where I have friends that they don't like coding, and they like to be more in the server part. They like networking. So it all depends of what you like. But I like coding, and yeah, I would suggest to get some practice in coding. You can just start a framework, create sample applications, get that GitHub to have some movement. So that's that's one an advice that I will give. I like coding.
yeah. And you mentioned earlier in your career you worked on uh, network infrastructure type applications. So that means you understand how things should be functioning at an underlying level. So now when you're looking from a pen test point of view, now you have a better visibility as to what should be happening, and when it's not happening, how you can attack it.
Yes, it helps. It's not easy though, because if the configuration of our services or secure, is way difficult to break it and find something. And pen testing in real life is not like doing a CTF, or just trying to hack a box, because in real life you won't find that easy those vulnerabilities. Uh, Although doing CPFs and boxes, it's really important. It's really good. That's another advice, because it helps you to learn about how vulnerabilities are, how they work. So it's like you need to see both sides, like what is real life, and when training. But yes, those are good. And yes, to anybody who wants to get into the cybersecurity and pen testing, yes, those are great. And there are tons of good resources to practice CTFs and boxes. And yes, as you said, getting to know the servers configuration, the operative system. I love the command line interface, so it helps, and it's good to know that.
And you mentioned you also did digital forensics. Let's talk
Yes,
about how important, even as a pen tester, forensics is, because now you can look at the logs of the systems, figure out what the versions of the systems are, clean up your activity, hide that from the blue team by deleting those, or hiding your tracks. So talk about how your forensic skills translates to your role as a pen tester as well.
yes. Well, digital forensics. Well, you must know is that uh, the digital forensic investigator is involved when something already happened, an attack already happened. And yes, as you said, you need to go and see the logs, and to see what happens, where the attacker went through, what the attacker did. Well, if the attacker covered traces, it makes way more difficult to detect. So the digital forensics, yes, this is another useful part that helps you to know what happens on the other side when something already happened. As a forensic investigator, my job, well, it wasn't always like something cool, like checking an incident. Sometimes I got cases in where I had to do that, especially with former employees that they abused the privileges, and they did some unauthorized actions. For example, transfer money, or deviate like the movement of assets, physical assets, for example, computers, wheels. I'm giving a couple examples. And then they hit that, and they just on the other side, they sold the product, and they took the money. So as a forensic, you investigate that when you got these interesting cases. Some other cases are way more basic, and then you only have to screenshot a Facebook chat and send the report to a legal authority. I was like, yeah, this happened. This guy was harassing this other person. He was insulting or something like that. So sometimes, this job not always involve like a true forensic job. Sometimes it's something very simple. So it differs. Has the pen testing project. Sometimes you face an application, with a small scope. Some other occasions you face a way bigger scope. Networking or web apps, and so all these areas helps you, gives you a background, gives you an experience. Doesn't guarantee anything, because if you are doing a pen testing and the application is way secure, you're gonna have a hard time finding something if you find uh, something. And forensics, yes, is a very interesting area to also take a look at.
So you mentioned also that you did a lot of teaching. How does that play into your ability now to convince someone how vulnerable something is when you have a finding? Because you could have a company that says, "Oh, this finding it's not important. We're not vulnerable because something else." How do you now then convince them how severe it really is if they try
Okay.
to downplay it?
Yeah. Okay. There are two sides of this. First one, when you're teaching something, even in the formal way as a professor in a university, a formal education, and also if you're dictating a course, uh, no matter if you already know or you have experience, you have to prepare. You have to prepare. Okay, if I'm gonna teach you SQL injection, okay, I may know how SQL injection works, but I need to prepare. I need to practice, prepare, because when you're teaching someone, you have to be ready to answer all the questions your students may have. So when you're teaching, you're learning as well. So teaching is not just teaching, but it's also it's a learning because you're preparing, and from your students, especially if they already have experience, you can learn a lot from everybody, no matter if they are experienced or not. You can always learn things from people. So in the teaching part now, in pen testing, for example, when you find a vulnerability that doesn't look really critical and looks mostly informational, I always recommend to patch it, to take that consideration. Because one common vulnerability that you find, and even in some bug bounty programs is not even accepted, is, for example, one common, which is the server banner, server version disclosure. uh, may not look critical, but what if after some months, after some time, uh, a vulnerability affecting that version is found? So if that banner is still exposed, what's going to happen? the risk increases, and an attacker may succeed in attacking that server with that vulnerable version. So that's one thing, and the other thing is the security practices, which you have to constantly be patching, updating the services version. So I believe that all vulnerabilities have to be remediated, considered. Yes, I know that the critical ones have to be, patched, like has a heads up, and the others may be, doing like taking some more time, but they have to be also be taken under consideration.
Okay, okay. Tell us about your experience now looking for roles. I know in Latin America, internationally, it's not always as easy, or it's different than in the US. Um, what are some of the things that you had to do as you looked for different roles, leaving a software developer role to try to get into the pen tester role or other roles that you tried to get?
Yes, this is something like that really makes a difference because on LinkedIn I have connected with several people, mostly from US and Europe, and well, and Asia. And for example, I'm gonna say this example. For example, people from the US, they are looking for jobs. They post that they make the job, that they didn't make the job. Sometimes they feel frustrated, and you have all sides of the story, but they have something that maybe many of us would like to have, which is the US passport, the legal authorization to work, because that's really the biggest gatekeeper what we, from other countries can have to get a job. But that shouldn't limit us to, to do what we like. And and that's one thing, like you cannot just apply for a job because you don't have the work authorization, and getting the work visa, for example, and H-1B visa, to go, to be legally authorized to work is not easy. There's a visa cap, and even if there might be a chance where you have to fulfill a company requirement. So that's why I had to move, to take other direction, and was more focused on freelancing consultancy. It's not impossible, but it's way more difficult to have that job, to get an actual job. But doing consultancy, freelance, bug bounty, if you do it well, you may not have to worry. But it's we have to to take different steps, to take another approach in order to succeed in this field. Um, that's one thing, and this happens with cybersecurity. In other areas, is more flexible. For example, software development. There are a lot of companies that they need software developers, to get in projects. So that's that you have more options. So that's why the path that we have to follow is different that the usual path that I see on LinkedIn. People, doing internships, getting the A plus, the security plus, volunteering. Well, volunteering is always good to do. Well, I forgot to mention, but last August, September, I joined. Well, we are in the InfoSec Live community, where we help the community with what we can, mentoring, sharing resources and things, and that's something good. All counts, and but we are in different situations, so that's more or less what I can tell people that are to people that are listening to us, to the people from Europe, US, to let them know how things are for us, and to my people from other countries, Latin America, how you can do. But each one of us have our own path, so we don't have a predefined path. We have to make our own path, and everybody has a different situation. In my case, I came from an IT background of several years. Some other people less experience in IT. Some people that are coming from other areas, sales, you know, and different backgrounds. So they have to, to customize to their background in order to succeed in their purposes.
So what it sounds like is that the roles that are available locally in your country aren't as much as say in the US.
Yes, exactly. There are not many roles. The roles, in cybersecurity, you see it mostly in the public sector with the public companies, government related. And well, in my case, I am not interested in working with my country's government. I wanna go in a different direction. The banking system, they always have to follow security practices, and they have some roles in related to cybersecurity. But other companies, especially private companies, they don't have that much. So yes, that's an opportunity for professionals from other countries to try to create a, I don't know if I'm saying it in the most appropriate way, but to create a cybersecurity local market or something like
Yeah.
that. So yes, that's something else that people can do if they want to do it. My intention has been to work freelancing in pen testing. I want to work from home, so that's why I haven't go and visit the companies. But that's my own direction that I wanna follow. But each one of the people, they they must have their goals that they want to achieve. So how people will break into cybersecurity will differ. I could say from person to person.
Okay. Yeah, I love it. And I love how you're hacking the system by going the freelance route, recommending that route so that while there might not be local opportunities, you're still finding an opportunity via these freelance mechanisms. Um, in our last couple minutes, if you had to sum up your advice into one piece of sage advice for someone following in your footsteps, what would that be?
Okay, my advice, well, follow your own path, create your own path. Don't try to imitate other people. Just each person is unique, and your path will probably be unique. Uh, this might sound disappointing, but if you struggle to get into cybersecurity, you can do a turn and maybe wanna go into other areas of IT to get more experience, to get more acquainted, more familiar, and then maybe trying to go, after more experience, going doing another attempt to get into cybersecurity. Other things that you can do is, okay, if you cannot get a job in cybersecurity, but in software engineering, get the security mindset and start applying security practices so you can already get experience. So IT is big. If cybersecurity is a big field, you can imagine how IT. So this might sound disappointing, but if you cannot make it into cyber, consider other areas, even
Yeah.
for a long term or just for a short term after getting more experience and then try into the cyber security. That's up to you. If you are like, no, cybersecurity is my dream job, and I wanna keep trying. That's up to you, and that's okay. That's your decision. But keep in mind that it may be more difficult. But
Yeah.
that's up to every one of the people.
I love your determination. If you can't do it one time, come back and try again, try again. Well, everyone,
Yes.
thank you very much. Follow us on LinkedIn. If you are following us on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button and that notification so that the next time we come, you're here with us live. And then share this with all your friends and family that are interested in IT or cybersecurity. That way they can have a try at it as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a great day.